The latest versions of Microsoft Excel for both Windows and Mac now have Python built in. So if you know how to use Python for data analysis, and if you don't, there's a whole set of videos here on my website showing you how to do that, from basic analysis to much more sophisticated type analysis. So if you know how to use Python, but you want to and want to use the more sophisticated statistical procedures available in Python compared to Excel, but you want to keep your results within Excel, then it's now possible to do that. It's very simple, and in this video I'll show you how. So here's my data set. Here's one I've used on a number of occasions in my tutorial videos. It's a simple cross-sectional type data set with 3 variables, 2 categorical ones, gender, site, 1 numeric. Here there are 80 cases and these 3 variables. Now the things that you need for Python are here under the Formulas tab. So make sure you, if you're not under Formulas, click that, and here are the options. Now I think I'm right in saying that you need to be connected to the internet to use Python. I think it uses Excel uses a server on the internet to do some of the calculations. I'm not sure on that, but I think you do. And if in fact you find that things are not working, you might need to press this reset button to restart the Python session. But assuming everything's working, all you have to do is to start the analysis, is to basically put in the code. Normally, of course, what you would do if you're using something like Positron or some other IDE, the first code you would use would be to import the packages you need. You don't need to do that here because they're loaded up by default. You can see that if you press the initialization button. And this brings up a panel here that tells you that the following input statements are preloaded. So as you can see, you've already got NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib, and they're all imported using those standard aliases, MP, PD, PLT. You've also got stats models, which is the sophisticated statistical analysis package that I've used in my tutorials. It's very powerful, and also Seaborn. So it's probably the case that most of the packages you need are already available. If you do need to import some other specialist package, there is a way to do that. It tells you here in this tip. It looks a bit of a kludge. I haven't actually used it because these are fine for me, but it looks, if you follow those instructions, but you probably be okay with these will cover most if not everything that you need. So we don't need to import them. We can get straight into bringing our data set into a Panda data frame, and then from then on we can carry out analysis in the usual way. So what you do is to use Python is you select some cell where you want the code and or the result to appear, and then you either type equals py, or I prefer simply to click the insert Python icon here. Now the first time you do that, it brings up some little help screen here with some samples and then a link to the documentation. But to actually enter the code, you simply type into the cell. So I'm going to put df, which is going to contain my data frame, equals. It's just here, it's just standard Python code. There's nothing different here. But how do you actually get this data into a data frame? Well, here you do need a special function which is called Excel. Now you could type that, it's lowercase XL, and then open the brackets, and then in inverted commas you put the range of your data, and then a comma and other options. The one most likely would be to say that the header equals true, meaning that it should use the first row as the variable names. You can type that, but if your data set's relatively small, you can just simply drag over your data like this, highlight it, and as you can see, it puts that in for you. So you can see the format you'd need here if you do want to type it in. If it's much larger data set and you don't really want to highlight the whole thing, but you know the range, just put it in. If you've got variable names in the first row, which you probably would have, don't forget the headers equals true. And then to enter that, to run it, as you can see, it's Command and Return. On Windows, it would be Control Return. And that does it. And notice it's saying there's an error here. That, I believe, again, is because it is run out, the session has timed out. As I think that's because you have to it's connected to the internet or something. Anyway, let me click Reset Runtime. And there we go. Now it's worked. So if you do find that error comes up, I've found when I've used this, it sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. Click, bring up the error and click Reset Runtime, or simply click the Reset button here. So now we've got our data frame in our df variable. We can then use that to run Panda code, Python code, and so on, in just the same way as normal. Now, let's say I want to look at the dimensions of this data set. As I said, I already know it's 80 by 3, 80 cases by 3 variables, but with a larger data set, you just might want to check that. For that, we can, of course, use the shape property. So all I need to do is click here to make sure it knows I want Panda code, df dot shape, and notice you get this nice code completion help. So I can simply move down to that, press tab, don't press return, press tab, puts it in. And now we can press Command Return to put in that code. And there, it's done it. Now, if you want to see the actual results here on your spreadsheet, simply right-click on it and choose Python Output Excel Value. And there we can see the dimensions: 80 rows, 80 cases, 3 variables. As well as entering the code directly into the cells, you can also bring up the editor here. So click the little button Editor. And as you can see, the code that you type in appears in a simple, almost like a Jupyter notebook here, with these different cells containing your code. You can see the results here by simply clicking the down arrow here, the exposure triangle. And you could put in text directly in here. So let's say I want to do a simple frequency breakdown here of the gender variable. I'll put it in this cell here. So in this case, I'm going to, rather than typing directly into it, I'm going to click the button here. It says add a Python cell in that cell there, E7. That brings up a cell for me to type in. So I can put gender frequency equals, so it's df, and then bring up use the usual code here. If you've known Python, you'll recognize this. Then it's the value counts, and again, notice it's offering that. The help system's very good here. So just press tab. We'll put normalize in to get proportions. Again, notice how it's very, very good and very quick at bringing up help and code completion, times 100 for percentages. Command Enter, or Command Return, and that's done. So I can see the results here. Or again, if I want to see them on the spreadsheet, right-click here, Python Output, Excel Value. And there we have them there. So as you can see, it's very easy, very, very easy indeed. All you have to do is get your data set into a data frame, and then you can use Python code in the normal way. And of course, you can also use the graphing facilities of Python. Don't forget, we saw that matplotlib had been imported. So you can use the sophisticated graphing facilities. I'll just do a very simple bar chart here of this gender breakdown here. So I'll put it in this cell here. This time I'll type directly into the cell rather than in the editor. Of course, what I type in the cell will then appear in the editor. So we have gender, and notice it knows about that variable now, so that's very nice. Dot plot dot bar, again recognizes all of this. Let's enter that, and we get a nice graph which I can see here, or if I want it on the spreadsheet, this time you right click and choose display plot over cells, and there we have an Excel chart which you can resize in the usual way. And you can format it. It's actually it's not a direct Excel chart, so you can't format the individual elements of it. It's just a picture, but you can add shadows and borders and things like that if it was an image. Now, and notice, of course, that you'd probably want to improve on this by adding a title and so on. Well, you can do that in the normal way by adding some additional code. So let me go back. I'll do this here. It'd be easier in the actual editor. Let me just get rid of the image here. So I'll just press return this time just to get another line. So I can do PL. Let's put a title in. So this is respondents by gender. There we go. Command return. And notice that it automatically updates the chart that you're putting here. You didn't need to display it again, so that's very neat. So as you can see, using Python within Excel is very simple. The packages that you need, most of the standard packages, NumPy and so on, are there by default. And all you have to do is to enter Python code into cells. You do that by clicking this icon here, or simply typing equals py, and then you can just put standard code in. But don't forget, the first thing you should do, of course, is to get your data set on your spreadsheet into a data frame using this Excel function here, Excel. But as you saw, you could actually put that in simply by dragging over the data. And from then on, it's simply running Python code in the normal way, either directly in a cell or here over in the editor. And I think that's very impressive that you can do this now in Excel. So I hope this video helped you to be able to do that if you want.